Today on TimesCast, millions of Egyptians went to the polls to start picking a president today. Voters expressed a mixture of elation and exasperation at the intense campaign they've just witnessed. Powerful men pleading and promising and insulting each other to try to win their votes. For Westerners, this is familiar, but for Egyptians, they were gratified to see the people who would be their future presidents effectively down on their knees pleading for votes. The most intense competition may have been between two rival Islamists, Mohammed Morsi, the candidate of the Muslim Brotherhood, and Abdelmonem Abdel Fattah, who's competing as a more liberal Islamist. There are no reliable polls here, so it's impossible to know which of those two could come out ahead. Whoever does will have a decisive impact not only on the presidential race here, but on the direction of political Islam across the region. Both also face challenges from two former members of the Mubarak government, Amr Moussa, the former foreign minister and head of the Arab League, and also Ahmed Shafiq, former general who was Mubarak's last prime minister. Both, and especially Mr. Shafiq, are campaigning as candidates of law and order, the firm hands who can help rein in some of the lawlessness that's pervaded here since the ouster of Mr. Mubarak. Certainly the most intriguing candidate is Dr. Abdelmonem Abdel Fattah, in part because he's stretching the definition of political Islam, presenting himself as both a liberal and an Islamist. My colleague Ben Solomon followed some of the young people who gravitated to his insurgent campaign.
Days ahead of Egypt's presidential election, Ayman Ihab dodged Cairo traffic to hand out campaign flyers.
We here in Egypt, we used to do this, so it's not dangerous that وعايز اسمع صوت يرد شارع فيصل.
For the past year, he's been volunteering for Abdel Fattah.
Within the last days and the pressure of the work and last days of the campaign, it's crazy, yeah.
Moderate Islamists like Ayman hope to bridge the gap between liberal ideals and conservative Islamic trends.
People in Egypt are not used to religious people that are liberal at the same time. People consider me an Islamist, but being a religious and a liberal at the same time, I think it's part of being religious.
These young, ambitious, and religious volunteers have become an essential part of Egyptian politics. Abdel Fattah's campaign is finely tuned. A doctor and former leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, he supports Sharia law, but preaches the importance of free speech. He has simultaneously won the support of young secular liberals and conservative Islamists alike. One of Fattah's main opponents is Amr Moussa, an experienced foreign minister under Hosni Mubarak.
I'm voting for Amr Moussa. He knows how to run the country. Islamic politicians don't know how to run the country.
Amr Moussa is the best because he got good experience, and right now we need someone to help us in security, because if you want to invest in this country, first you have to get security.
Amr Moussa for me is part of Mubarak's regime. If he does win, I think that will be the end of the revolution.
Ayman, who is 22, spent his entire life under the Mubarak rule. After the revolution, he immediately became politically active.
As youth, Mubarak didn't give us the right to participate in different parties or to participate in politics. The revolution was a turning point.
On Friday, Abdel Fattah held a final campaign event, drawing thousands for a blowout spectacle before voters went to the polls. After a long campaign, Ayman spent a last night volunteering.
As Dr. Abdel Fattah said, the future of this country will not be built on the shoulders of old men. It will be built on the shoulders of the youth that participated in our revolution.
Today we spent our time in two very different neighborhoods. Zamalek, an island in the Nile that is the center of the Egyptian elite, and Mbaba, just across the river, an impoverished neighborhood known as a stronghold of political Islam. On opposite sides of the river, you see both sides of the culture war that right now defines Egyptian politics.
هو الدين أساس كل شيء، عشان مصلحة البلد ومصلحة الشعب، عشان عايزين نختار رئيس يتقي ربنا يخاف ربنا.
هذا هو want someone to come and take my rights, my basic rights, which I should have. I want Egypt to be going forward, to have rights for women. If Islamists are elected, we'll go back like 1,000 years backwards.
The most important issue is not to choose a president from the Muslim Brotherhood. Religion should play no role. All educated people that know religion and that know politics and that are educated will never look at this issue.
At this point, there are no reliable polls to tell us which of the 5 leading candidates might come out ahead. The top 2 candidates will face each other next month in a runoff. And after there is a winner, we don't yet know what that person's job description is going to be. A planned constitutional convention has become deadlocked over its composition. Egypt's military rulers have promised to issue a new temporary constitution before they leave office, but so far none of that has happened. So right now, almost everything about the presidency remains up for grabs.